Alright, the story to Final Fantasy. It's a Final Fantasy story, and I don't mind that at all. Uh, I mean, you're gonna hear Falsey and Cocoon a lot, and I do mean a lot. Just listen to the dialogue: Falsey, Cocoon, Lassie, whatever, all that stuff. So, let's cite a story. So the story's not too bad. So the story is a Final Fantasy story. We'll leave it at that. But the game is so linear. It's the most linear game you'll ever play. I mean, the definition under Wika for linear should be Final Fantasy 13. You go to point A to point B. There might be a few branches and a few treasure chests, but that's it. I mean, Final Fantasy 1, you started off on a map. I mean, you could go pretty much anywhere except for the river and have boundaries and stuff. But it wasn't linear. The game never opened up. I mean, I played it for 12 hours, never opened up, nothing changed. I played it for 20, nothing changed, up to about 30. And I just gave up. I mean, it's so linear. It's awful. This is not what Final Fantasy was. Final Fantasy to me was like its own genre. I mean, you play it for a little bit, like say 7, you play it for a few hours, and then you're on the world map, and the game opens right up. You can go to different towns, you can save inns and stuff. This Final Fantasy 13 is not like that. It's point A to point B. You can save at the save speeder. I mean, I'm calling it a speeder for Final Fantasy X purposes, but that's where it is. That's where you buy your gear. Speaking of which, the gear in the game, I mean, upgrading it is a nuisance. I don't know how many people are actually going to sit there and upgrade it. There's no depth to it. It's awful. It's the worst leveling up system I've ever seen for like items and gear. You don't know what half the stuff you're picking up is. You don't even know if it's worth it. And I'm willing to bet you could probably play the game through and not level up your weapons. It's awful. For me, the leveling of the weapons seemed really tacked on. I would try and expand the game, make it better, but it didn't add to the game at all. You could have left it out. You wouldn't have even know. In fact, I think if you left it and got new weapons, you'd probably enjoy it a bit more. But this was awful. This was not the way. It wasn't done right. This all goes back to Final Fantasy when they actually joined with Enix. A lot of people, including myself, know that was a bad thing. I mean, they lost some of the head people, they were firing people. We don't really know what went on internally there. But its genre, it's established, because it was its own genre. It changed. It's like Enix tried to go mainstream, tried to milk it. And they are milking it. A lot of kids like Final Fantasy 13. I'm not one of them. It's got a hole left in me waiting for a new game company to fill. So, where are we supposed to go? What are we supposed to do now? We have no more Final Fantasy. It's gone. There was a game I actually played. It was called Lost Odyssey. That was the hole that was missing for me. That game was amazing. I played it through twice. I loved it. The story was excellent. It was Final Fantasy. In fact, the genre Final Fantasy I would classify under Lost Odyssey. If you haven't tried this game, try it. It feels and plays like a Final Fantasy. As for 13, I can't recommend the new Versus one that's coming out. It's horrible, and I'm stopped buying them. I won't be buying any more Final Fantasies after 13. Unless I go turn-based, then I might give it a try. All I can see is all the reviewers giving it 8.5, 8, you know, maybe even a 9 somewhere's on the net somewhere, but it's just not worth it. I'd have to give it like 3 or 4 at the most. I mean, I'm sure the kids like it, but people who grew up, well, I'm going to say this relevantly, like as in most of the people that grew up on Final Fantasy, like myself, the first one, and it's just changed its shape. It lost its charm, and it's the biggest disappointment to me. After a long wait, I even bought a PS3 to get it, to find that it actually got ported to 360, and I didn't have to buy the PS3, and it was just a lost cause. After I played it, I didn't like it after that. It's sad but true. my little room.